All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Sarabjit Kaur. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold Swanidhi Samvad today with street vendors from Madhya Pradesh. Health Ministry issues SOP guidelines for partial reopening of schools for class 9 to 12 from 21st of this month. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 77.65% in the country. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to attend meeting of Council of Foreign Ministers of SCO in Moscow today. India and Asian Development Bank signed $500 million loan for Delhi Meerut Regional Rapid Transit System Corridor. IMD forecast isolated heavy rainfalls in northeast and peninsular regions of India over next 4 to 5 days. And in the US Open, Naomi Osaka, Jennifer Brady and Alexander Zverev enter semi-finals. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold Swanidhi Samvad with street vendors from Madhya Pradesh this morning at 11 a.m. The program will be telecast through webcast, for which pre-registration is being done on MyGov's link pmevents.ncog.gov.in. Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan will also participate in the program through video conferencing. The Prime Minister will also interact with 3 beneficiaries from the states by connecting virtually with them from their vending locations. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said he is very eager about the Swanidhi Samvad, and during the special conversation, people will get an opportunity to know the experiences of our hard-working street vendors of Madhya Pradesh. He said, it is heartening that 4.5 lakh street vendors have registered under this scheme in Madhya Pradesh. Mr. Modi said it is a large number and appreciated government of Madhya Pradesh for it. The union government had launched the PM Swanidhi scheme on June the 1st this year to help poor street vendors impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic resume livelihood activities. More details from our correspondent.
The Prime Minister will transfer 10,000 rupees each to the account of around 1 lakh beneficiaries. Sri Modi will also interact with some of the beneficiaries of the state. As many as 4.5 lakh street vendors were registered in Madhya Pradesh, with more than 4 lakh vendors having been given identification and vendor certification. Applications of 2.45 lakh eligible beneficiaries of the scheme have been presented through the portal to banks for credit facility, out of which acceptance has been granted to around 1.4 lakh street vendors of amount worth rupees 140 crore. Madhya Pradesh stands first in the number of total applications accepted under this scheme. Around 47% of the applications are coming from the state alone. Arrangements for beneficiaries of the scheme in the state to watch the program in public places have been made through LED screens in 378 municipal bodies. The Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan will also participate in the program through video conferencing. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
The Health Ministry has issued Standard Operating Procedure SOPs for partial reopening of schools for class 9 to 12 from the 21st of this month on voluntary basis. This allowing of sharing of notebooks, pens or pencils, water bottles among students, prohibition of assemblies and sports, encouraging online learning, entry of asymptomatic persons are some of the important points of the guidelines. It said, however, written consent of the students' parents or guardians will be required, and such visits for teacher-student interactions must be organized in a staggered manner. According to the guidelines, a seating arrangement has to be made to ensure a distance of 6 feet between chairs, desks, etc., and the teaching faculty will ensure that they themselves and students wear masks throughout the conduct of the teaching or guidance activities. The concerned teaching and non-teaching employees up to 50% of the strength may be called to schools for online teaching or telecounseling and related work. The guidelines further said, installation and use of the Arogya Setu app may be advised wherever feasible. The guidelines also call for ensuring regular counseling for students and teachers reporting mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. The SOP said, it is advisable that teachers, school counselors and school health workers should work in unison to ensure emotional safety of the students. Cleaning and regular disinfection using 1% sodium hypochlorite of frequently touched surfaces like doorknobs, elevator buttons, handrails, chairs, benches, washroom fixtures will be made mandatory in all classrooms, laboratories, lockers, parking areas, other common areas before beginning of classes and at the end of the day. Schools that were used as quarantine centers should be properly sanitized and deep cleaned before partial functioning is resumed. In case a student or teacher or employee develops symptoms, the ill person should be in a room or area where they are isolated from others, and the nearest medical facility should be informed.
Andhra Pradesh Education Minister Adimulappu Suresh announced the exam dates of all common entrance tests and said they will be held as per the COVID-19 guidelines issued by the centre. The common entrance tests are scheduled to be held from tomorrow, starting with AP-ICET, which will be held in 4 sessions on September 10th and 11th. Candidates can check information related to exam dates, download admit cards, exam day instructions on the website www.sche.ap.gov.in. All examination centres will be sanitized after completion of each session, and the centre will also house sanitizers, gloves, face masks and thermal scanners to ensure a safe environment. The minister assured parents that all safety precautions are in place. In Tamil Nadu, the engineering, undergraduate and postgraduate final semester exams are scheduled to be held from the 22nd to the 29th of this month. Anna University in Chennai, which conducts the examinations, has said in a statement, the examinations will be held through online mode with objective type questions. Meanwhile, the total COVID-19 infection in Tamil Nadu has reached nearly the 4.75 mark, with 5,684 people testing positive yesterday. The number of recoveries in the state has gone up to 4.16 lakh. More details on this from our correspondent.
The Tamil Nadu government is planning to establish 2,000 mini clinics across the state. They are aimed at providing consultations to non-COVID-19 patients, as informed by the State Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy. He interacted with his cabinet colleagues and senior officials in Chennai yesterday to discuss about the prevailing pandemic situation. He said the mini clinics will be set up in places away from municipal and township areas and far off from existing primary health centers. The clinics will be having a doctor and paramedical staff. Those coming with symptoms of COVID-19 will be referred to the regular hospitals. Many of the people having health issues other than COVID are said to be reluctant to visit regular hospitals. Jai Singh, AAR News, Chennai.
In Karnataka, 7,866 new COVID-19 cases were reported in the state yesterday, taking the total number of cases to 4,12,190. As many as 7,803 people have recovered in the state. The total number of people recovered has increased to 3,08,573. Details from our correspondent.
Amidst COVID pandemic, the Karnataka Legislative Assembly session will be held from September 21 to 30 at Vidhana Soudha. Assembly Speaker Visweswara Reddy Kaveri has said that all the members and the officials who are participating in the session should go for COVID test 72 hours before the session begins. Public will not be allowed to witness the session. Thermal reading will be taken before entering the house. The members have to wear masks, sanitize their hands and maintain social distancing norms. According to the schedule, 10 bills will be tabled and 2 will be taken up for approval. There are 31 issues lined up for discussion in the House during the 8-day session. R. Murthy, AAR News, Bengaluru.
Odisha achieved a milestone yesterday with the recovery of more than 1 lakh COVID-19 patients, with 2,787 persons reported cured yesterday. The total number of recovery has gone up to 1,02,185. On the other hand, 3,490 fresh cases were reported yesterday, taking the cumulative caseload of the state to 1,31,382. 569 persons have succumbed to the infection so far. More from our correspondent.
While the rate of COVID-19 positivity in Odisha has been hanging around 6% as of now, the recovery rate has also been on the upswing. This is the reason why the active caseload of the state on any given day has not crossed the 30,000 mark for quite some time now. Khordha district, nestling capital Bhubaneswar, represents the farthest end of the spectrum with 7,683 cases. Devgarh district, with only 82 active cases, represents the lowest. In terms of fresh cases, more than 20 districts have managed to fix the viral spread down to double digit. Girish Chandradas, Bhubaneswar.
Chhattisgarh is becoming one of the COVID-19 hotspots of the country. The number of corona-positive cases breached the 50,000 mark. The state reported 2,545 fresh COVID-19 cases yesterday, taking the tally of confirmed cases in the state to 50,114. More from our Raipur correspondent.
Corona-positive cases have been steadily increasing in Chhattisgarh with a four-fold surge during the last 1 month. Active cases have increased by 7 times as compared to the data of 30 days back. Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel said that increasing number of COVID-positive cases has created an environment of fear among common people. Chhattisgarh government has decided to prescribe home isolation to the COVID patients with few or no symptoms. People who have come in contact with COVID-positive patients should also be provided the prophylactic drug kits along with standard operating procedures. It has also been decided to provide online medical consultancy to COVID-19 patients at Rs 2,500 for 10 days. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
In Bihar, COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 89%. 1,944 patients recovered in the last 24 hours, while 1,667 were tested negative. 1,34,089 patients have recovered from the infection in the state so far. The state government has cancelled Mal Mas Mela at Rajgir in view of corona pandemic. Meanwhile, Patna district administration has allowed to open zoo and parks. Gyms and fitness centers have been opened after 5 months. In Gujarat, 1,295 new cases of COVID-19 were recorded during the last 24 hours. AIR Ahmedabad correspondent reports that the recovery rate further improved to 81.78%.
More than 29,25,000 tests have been carried out in the state till date. Out of 1,295 new cases, the maximum 177 new cases reported from Surat city. At present, 16,351 active cases, out of which 82 patients are on ventilator. 1,445 patients have been discharged from various hospitals after recovery. 13 patients have lost their lives yesterday, taking the total death due to COVID-19 up to 3,136. Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has ordered all residential societies to appoint COVID coordinator for strict implementation of COVID-19 protocol. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Mizoram detected 69 new cases of COVID-19 yesterday, which is the highest number of confirmed infections registered in a single day in the state. With this, the total number of COVID-19 cases has reached 1,192 in the state. 48 BSF personnel who are being quarantined at an Army-run quarantine facility are found positive. Meanwhile, 6 Indian Army personnel under quarantine also tested positive. The centre has said that India's COVID-19 cases per million population is among the lowest in the world, which stands at 3,102 in comparison to 3,527 cases for the world. Addressing media in New Delhi yesterday, Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan said, as India has lowest deaths per million population, the case fatality rate, CFR, is also declining continuously. Mr. Bhushan said that so far over 33 lakh patients have been cured. 73,642 patients have recovered in the last 24 hours, which is the highest single-day COVID-19 recovery. The recovery rate has now reached 77.65%. In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you views of leading medical experts on COVID-19. Speaking to AIR News, Dr. Saurabh Mehrotra, consultant at Mental Health Division in Medanta Hospital, emphasized that people should indulge in positive addictions.
हम अपने आप को पॉजिटिव एडिक्शंस में एंगेज करें, जैसे राइटिंग, रीडिंग, क्रिएटिव आर्ट्स सच एज ड्राइंग, पेंटिंग, गार्डनिंग, इस तरीके की चीजें, दीज ऑल क्वालिफाई एज पॉजिटिव एडिक्शन. म्यूजिक, ये सब पॉजिटिव एडिक्शंस हैं. ये स्ट्रेस रिड्यूस करने में हमारा बहुत मदद करते हैं. हम सोशली कनेक्टेड रहें एक दूसरे से, टेलीफोन कॉन्वर्सेशन करें, बात करें लोगों से, सोशल मीडिया कम से कम इस्तेमाल करें.
White House Coronavirus Advisor and National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases head Dr. Anthony Fauci said yesterday he was cautiously optimistic that a safe and effective vaccine for the novel strain of the coronavirus will be available by the end of 2020. The quest for a safe and effective vaccine has become a politically charged issue in the United States and the world, with President Donald Trump hinting There will be one approved vaccine before he stands for re-election on November the 3rd.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold Swanidhi Samvad today with street vendors from Madhya Pradesh. Health Ministry issues SOP guidelines for partial reopening of schools for class 9 to 12 from 21st of this month. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 77.65% in the country. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to attend meeting of Council of Foreign Ministers of SCO in Moscow today. India and Asian Development Bank signed $500 million loan for Delhi-Meerut Regional Rapid Transit System Corridor. IMD forecast isolated heavy rainfalls in northeast and peninsular regions of India over the next 4 to 5 days. And in the US Open, Naomi Osaka, Jennifer Brady and Alexander Zverev enter semi-finals. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will be attending the meeting of Council of Foreign Ministers of Shanghai Cooperation Organization to be held in Moscow today and tomorrow. This will be the third Council of Foreign Ministers CFM meeting that India will be attending as a full member of SCO. The earlier two meetings were held in Beijing on April 2018 and Bishkek in May 2019. India has been taking active part in various SCO dialogue mechanisms under the chairmanship of the Russian Federation this year. The SCO summit will be held in the near future. The CFM meeting in Moscow will review the preparations for the forthcoming SCO summit and also exchange views on international and regional issues. The External Affairs Minister's visit in Moscow will include the participation in the Council of SCO Foreign Ministers and other bilateral meetings. We have a report.
The External Affairs Minister is also expected to have several bilateral meetings, including with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. India and Russia enjoy an important strategic partnership, and this year marks the 20th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of India-Russia Strategic Partnership. The ministers are likely to discuss a wide range of bilateral cooperation issues as well as current issues on the regional and international agenda. The foreign ministers at SCO will discuss key international and regional issues in the context of the 75th UN anniversary. The deliberations will be centered around a number of urgent foreign policy issues as well as decisions aimed at further developing SCO activities on overcoming the global political and socio-economic consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. Suparna Saikia, AIR News, Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that technology holds the key to scale up the use of solar energy. In a message at the inaugural session of the first World Solar Technology Summit yesterday, Mr. Modi said that technological achievements have already brought about a significant reduction in the price of solar power. His message was read out by Minister of Power and New and Renewable Energy and the President, International Solar Alliance ISA Assembly, R.K. Singh, in the summit yesterday. He said a further reduction in the cost will provide a major boost to the use and expansion of renewable energy. Referring to India's support to ISA member countries, the Prime Minister says that India is providing capacity building support to ISA member countries through its ITEC training program. India and the Asian Development Bank, ADB, signed a $500 million loan for Delhi-Meerut Regional Rapid Transit System RRTS corridor yesterday. The first tranche of a total of $1 billion facility to build a modern, high-speed, 82-kilometer Delhi-Meerut RRTS corridor will improve regional connectivity and mobility in India's National Capital Region, NCR. With a design speed of 180 km per hour, the high-frequency operations of every 5 to 10 minutes, the 82-kilometer corridor connecting Sarai Kale Khan in Delhi to Modipuram in Meerut in Uttar Pradesh is expected to reduce the journey time to about 1 hour from the present 3 to 4 hours.
Delhi's Metro Blue Line from Dwarka Sector 21 to Electronic City and Vaishali and Pink Line from Majlis Park to Shiv Vihar will resume operations today after being closed for 171 days due to the COVID-19 pandemic. From today onwards, Services will be available on both of these lines from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. along with yellow and rapid lines which are already operational. The reopening of these two lines will ensure availability of 9 of the existing 28 interchange metro stations from today, including Rajouri Garden, INA Delhi Hut, Mayur Vihar Phase 1, Rajiv Chowk, Anand Vihar ISPT and Sikandarpur. Mumbai International Airport has put in place a QR code-enabled contactless check-in mechanism for the passengers. Mumbai International Airport Limited said that the touchless technology solution is a vital step in reducing passenger contact with kiosk services and is in full compliance with the Civil Aviation Ministry's passenger processing guidelines. MIAL Chief Executive Officer Rajiv Jain said that the airport is focused on delivering technology solutions that help customers quickly deliver a safe and smooth passenger journey. More details from our Mumbai correspondent.
The QR code-enabled contactless check-in facility at Mumbai International Airport allows passengers to use their mobile phones to remotely operate check-in and self-bag drop kiosks for printing boarding passes and bag tags. Even before the pandemic, MIAL had introduced technologies like common-use self-service check-in kiosks, self-baggage drop counters, and e-gates that allows passengers to scan their boarding pass to proceed to security check. Meanwhile, State Health Minister Rajesh Tope said that a special cell will be set up to check side effects in the patients who have recovered from COVID-19 infection. He also informed that remdesivir medicine will be provided to COVID-19 patients at the expense of the state government. Madhuri Pange, AIR News, Mumbai.
Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani has announced 16% rebate in gas bill to the ceramic industry in the state. According to the official press release, this will exempt the ceramic industry from ₹2.50 per standard cubic meter SCM hike by Gujarat Gas Company Limited and Sabarmati Gas Limited. This rebate is over and above ₹2 per SCM rebate announced earlier. The decision will help the ceramic industry, which is passing through difficult times in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. In a major step towards women empowerment, Uttar Pradesh government has decided to involve women self-help groups in distribution of nutrition fortified food for children and pregnant ladies in the state. A memorandum of understanding has been signed between UP Rural Livelihood Mission and UN World Food Programme for procurement and distribution of take-home ration THR, which are energy-dense foods given to kids and pregnant ladies. Our correspondent reports that Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said on the occasion that this will ensure employment of at least one woman from every poor rural family.
Take-home rations are micronutrition fortified foods which are given to children under 6 years of age and pregnant and lactating women under the Integrated Child Development Services. The collaboration will be launched in 204 blocks of 18 districts in the first phase and then extended to cover all blocks in the state's 75 districts. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said that women from around 3,000 self-help groups will become entrepreneurs through this. Each woman will get employment of more than 240 working days, an employment generation of more than 7,20,000 person days, and income of 5,000 to 7,000 per person is expected from the scheme. The total business turnover of the scheme will be around 1,200 crores in the 18 districts. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In our series on Gandhi and philosophy, today we bring you a report on Gandhiji's views on women empowerment. Mahatma Gandhi was a firm believer in women's inherent capacity for non-violence. He considered them to be the most courageous fighters for Indian independence as well as social reformation. Gandhiji was one of the few freedom fighters who encouraged women's active participation in the freedom struggle. Through his political and social movements, his continuous effort was to awaken the power of women and help them shed their deep-rooted sense of inferiority and rise to dignity and self-esteem. Here is a report.
Gandhiji had said there is no occasion for women to consider themselves subordinate or inferior to men. It was through his persistent efforts that women were attracted to his ideas and deeds and joined the freedom struggle in large number. While people only know of prominent leaders like Sarojini Naidu, Lakshmi Menon, Sushila Nayyar, and Rajkumari Amrit Kaur, there were thousands of unsung and unnoticed heroines of India who learned the meaning of liberation from him and contributed with all their energy to the struggle for independence. With Anand Kumar, Anupam Mish, AI News, Delhi.
The UAE has extended an amnesty period waiving the fines of residents whose visas expired before March 1st. Authorities said those who are in the country on lapsed visas have time till November 17th to leave without having to pay a penalty. Major General Saeed Rakhan Al-Rashidi, Director General of Foreigners Affairs and Ports for the Federal Authority for Identity and Citizenship, ICA, said it includes all violators whose visas expired before March 1st.
India Meteorological Department has forecast isolated heavy rainfalls in northeast and peninsular regions of India over the next 4 to 5 days. During the next 24 hours, strong winds of speed 45 to 55 km per hour over southwest Arabian Sea, Kerala and Karnataka coasts and Lakshadweep area. They are expected. Fishermen are advised not to venture into these areas. Heavy to very heavy rainfall at isolated places is also very likely over coastal Karnataka and Kerala on Thursday and Friday. Now, let us take a look at weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi is expected to have strong surface winds during the daytime. Minimum temperature recorded in the city was 26 degrees Celsius. Maximum temperature is expected to be around 36 degrees. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder or lightning. The minimum temperature recorded was 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 32 degrees. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Minimum temperature recorded was 26 degrees Celsius. Maximum is expected at around 35 degrees. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Minimum temperature in the metropolis was 27 degrees Celsius while maximum will be around 35 degrees. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, minimum temperature in Jammu was 24 degrees Celsius while maximum will be around 35 degrees. Gilgit and Muzaffarabad are also going to have mainly partly cloudy sky. Minimum temperature in Gilgit was 13 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected to be around 32 degrees. In Muzaffarabad, minimum temperature was 24 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected to be around 34 degrees.
Naomi Osaka, Jennifer Brady and Alexander Zverev entered semi-finals of the US Open yesterday. Naomi Osaka's sharp serving and superior return game helped her past American Shelby Rogers in quarterfinals. Naomi Osaka will now meet American Jennifer Brady in the semi-finals. Brady beat Kazakhstan's Yulia Putintseva in straight sets in quarterfinals. And in the men's quarterfinals, fifth-seeded Alexander Zverev of Germany defeated Borna Coric of Croatia to enter into the semi-finals. And now an overview of today's newspapers. The Statesman quotes government sources to report that the Chinese troops carried rods, spears and clubs. PLA's bid to dislodge India from peaks foiled, headlines The Pioneer. The Financial Express reports that the clash has failed to dent India-China trade. The Asian Age has quoted Union Minister Kiren Rijiju as saying that the PLA has confirmed that 5 missing Arunachal youth have been found by them. Classes 9 to 12 students may attend schools from September 21st. MHA allows it on voluntary basis if parents permit, issue safety SOPs, reports The Pioneer. The Hindu writes, digital divide shadows post-pandemic education. NSO reports highlights wide disparity in access to online classes. And finally, Delhi Metro's busiest corridor, Blue Line and Pink Line, open today, reports the Times of India.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold Swanidhi Samvad today with street vendors from Madhya Pradesh. Health Ministry issues SOP guidelines for partial reopening of schools for class 9 to 12 from the 21st of this month. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 77.65% in the country. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to attend meeting of Council of Foreign Ministers of SCO in Moscow today. India and Asian Development Bank sign $500 million loan for Delhi Meerut Regional Rapid Transit System Corridor. IMD forecast isolated heavy rainfalls in northeast and peninsular regions of India over next 4 to 5 days. And in the US Open, Naomi Osaka, Jennifer Brady and Alexander Zverev enter semi-finals. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.